Greetings and welcome to Fuck the Book. I read the book, so you don't have to. Welcome to today's episode of Fuck the Book. Funny story. So today we're talking about Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. And what's really interesting, really fascinating about this book, if you haven't read it, it is an amazing book. But what's really fascinating is that before coming alive, my screen that was going to display the picture of the book so that you could easily find it, it hasn't worked, right? There's an issue with the Wi-Fi, whatever. And it's really interesting because one of the first points that I got from this book really relates beautifully to this. So I think I'm going to start by sharing that. This is today's book review. Fuck the Book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Michael Singer says, you'll listen to your thoughts, but understand they do not define you. He goes on to say that thoughts are conscious output of what you've been paying attention to. Isn't it interesting in life sometimes that we get stressed, we get anxious, we get worried, we get frustrated, we get concerned. Things don't always go according to plan. And depending on the energy that we give those things really determines how we feel. A few minutes before, as I was trying to get this screen set up, I felt this energy change, felt a shift in my energy. I felt a little bit stressed. I felt that things were not going according to plan. I felt that this video potentially wouldn't be as good if I didn't have the silly little screen behind me showing the book title, which frankly is just thoughts. And Michael Singer's point here is thoughts are a conscious output of what you've been paying attention to. So be aware, he says, beware, or be aware, should I say, of what you're paying attention to. And then he goes on to give an example of, if you focus on something that's not working right now, you're going to feel feelings of fear, uncertainty, worry. If you focus on what you're grateful for in this moment, you're obviously going to feel very different emotions. Maybe you feel emotions of peace, happiness, joy, warmth. I don't know what words it would be for you, but the point here is he's saying is be aware of what you're paying attention to, because your thoughts are your conscious output of what you're focusing on. He then goes on to say fear is a result of blocked energy. He says fear is a result of blocked energy. He says it's not about overcoming fear. He said it's impossible to do that. We have, rational fears, irrational fears. But again, the real theme of the book is about awareness. It's about being aware. And he says the goal is to be aware of fear, but not let it take over you. And he goes on to kind of talk about, that as humans, we're designed to be in a state of fight or flight. We're kind of designed to be, fending off lions and animals of predators in the wild, right? That's what we're designed to do. But we don't have that type of fear very much anymore. So we kind of get it caught up with, oh, how will I appear on this Facebook Live? What if my screen's not working, right? So the goal, he said, is to be aware of fear. So I had a thought that came up before I did this video. Should I do the video? Because the screen's not working. And he says, the goal is to be aware of the fear, which I was aware of the screen not working. He said, but don't let it take over you. So I've refused to let it prevent me from doing the video. He says, Michael Singer goes on to say, disassociation of thoughts is the ultimate goal of personal growth. Fucking love that. He says, disassociation of thoughts is the ultimate goal of personal growth. He said, you want to see thoughts like a speech bubble over an animated cartoon. Those animated cartoons where they have the kind of thought clouds above? He said, you want to think about it as it's separate from you. It's like it's up there, like kind of top right. Wonder what that means. Wonder why that person behaved that way, rather than kind of emotionally kind of clinging onto it like it's you, right? He then says, talking about clinging, that leads me beautifully on. He said, he talks about clinging. He says, We cling to needs like certainty because we think it's going to give us more of what we want, when in actual fact, he says clinging on to certainty just creates anxiety, because certainty is impossible. That's profound shit, right? He says embrace death. He said that's the only thing in life that is certain. And then he goes pretty kind of woo-woo, but I know that this will resonate with you if you're still here. He says, reflect on death as if you know that you're destined to die today. And he said the reason why, he said it's not to be depressing, but if you were, I often ask my coaching clients the question, I say, if you knew you had 24 hours to live, what would you do different from what you've planned to do? How would you show up in the next 24 hours? Because I'll go, you know, like some people will say, oh, if I had a day left to live, I'd be on a fancy island. Like, well, you can't get there because COVID and flights and all that stuff. So how would you show up in the last 24 hours? I think it's a really important question, because often when people will say things like, I tell all the people that I'd ring all the people that I love, tell them how much I mean to them, tell them to live their life, no regrets, go for your dreams. Like, you know, most people I speak to and ask that question say, I'd want to just leave a lasting message for people with as many people that I love as possible. Profound, right? So that they live the life that of their dreams. And that's just amazing. He says, embracing death helps us prioritize what's important. He said it filters out the crap and it reduces our amount of time of focus that we give to unimportant things. It then goes on to say, letting go of thoughts will help you have more inner peace. And he finishes by kind of saying, what I got from the book was the moral. He then says, you know, the way to do it, because obviously the book is kind of telling you a lot of what to do. It's like, well, how do you do that? And he basically said the way to integrate all of that, meditation. Meditation is the simplest, easiest way to integrate all of that stuff. He said you want to kind of have more inner certainty, get over your fears, be less stressed, be less worried about what's going to happen or not happen. Meditation is ultimately what he said. So that's it. I hope you found this useful. I need to know, right? I need to know if if these book reviews have resonated. I've had some great feedback from the last one, Daring Greatly with Brene Brown. I'd love to know, what did you get from that? What was the key takeaway? What was the key insight? Post it in the comments. I'd love to know. I want to know what you got from this. Like, what's one thing that you heard in that book review that you go, wow, that's amazing, I need to do that, or I need to pay more attention to that? Post it in the chat. I'd love to know. I really want to know, because the whole purpose of me doing this is because I love to read. So I thought, well, why don't I have more of a kind of pay it forward, because the more I read now, the more book reviews I can do, right? So if you enjoy this, just put in the comments, what did you get? What was an insight? What did you learn, etc. That's it. The Untethered Soul. Forgive me that it's not on the screen. It's not working today. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Powerful book. Must read. Highly recommend it. Hope you enjoyed it. Fuck the Book, episode 2. Over and out. Ciao.